Hello everybody, Jim Arroyo back here with you with the Oath Keepers of Yavapai County and the Yavapai County Preparedness team. This video today is going to be entitled Hurricane Season, which is well upon us. Everybody by now absolutely knows what just happened to the southeastern United States. It was something that we knew was coming. We knew it was going to be a big hurricane. But this thing did a lot more damage than anybody thought possible. This is for our USCPT members. If you have family in the areas of the country that are subject to hurricanes, you need to pay attention to this. And I know, after the effects, there's a lot needs to be done, and we're going to talk about that. But we know that Hurricane Helene was a big one. And it did damage all the way up to North Carolina. And I know I've got a granddaughter that's in college in South Carolina, so I got some reports from there. I know how bad the damage is. We've been following this very closely. And now there are new hurricanes forming offshore. Now, the way the reports come in, it's ridiculous. The last report I got was, the hurricanes are off too far out at sea and they're probably going to miss the United States altogether. Well, several days before that, the hurricane was being tracked that's coming in right on the same exact track as what Hurricane Helene just did. Okay? And then there was another one forming right behind that. So we're following this very closely. You need to get a hold of family and friends and see if people are okay. Right now, it is just a hellacious event. It's going to take years to recover. Right now, the last report was Hurricane Helene has killed over 200 people. Guys, that number is 100% bogus. It is in the thousands right now. They don't know because they're not able to get in there and get at a lot of the bodies that are buried in the mud or in trees or in other places. It is an horrific scene from the reports I've been getting and the video that I've been tracking. It's horrible. Hundreds of roads are closed. There's massive flooding in multiple states. Bridges are down. A lot of areas are only accessible by helicopter. You cannot get in there with any kind of vehicle. So this is something that I don't know what we're going to be able to do, but I'm going to talk to you about some other stuff with this. And in all of this, with a port closure looming, when this report first came out, the docks hadn't shut down yet. That's already been settled, but now we're dealing with the aftermath. Reports from the ground post-event. This is from people that I track all the time on YouTube. These are really good subject matter experts that put out videos all the time that live in that sector. So we're getting on the ground reports. One of them was that just store shelves obviously were bare because anytime there's a hurricane, that's what happens. People go out and start to stock up then rather than already be prepared. Keep in mind, with hurricanes, you have sometimes 1 or 2 weeks of warning before the hurricane even comes close. Why do people wait till the day before? But that's human nature. A lot of stores were cash only. The power was out. There was no way to utilize all their electronics. So if you don't have cash, there's nothing you're going to be able to do. That's a major reason why you want to make sure you have a good several weeks to a month's supply of cash on hand. Don't keep it in the bank because you can't get it out. There was obviously no bottled water, first thing to disappear. And then where there were stores open that were only taking cash, people were buying perishables. Now, if the power's down post-event, why are you buying anything perishable? You're not going to be able to store it. So there's still no electricity. A lot of non-perishable food was left on the shelves. Canned goods, dried goods, a lot of things like that. So don't go and hit the meat counter right away. Hit the stuff that's storable that's going to last. Do you have a way to prepare meals if you get through the aftermath of a major event? Do you have a way to cook food without, if you have an electric house or an electric stove and the power's down, you're done. Do you have some kind of a camping stove, propane? Do you have a rocket stove, a way to cook over an open fire with a Dutch oven? There's a lot of different ways to prepare a hot meal when you don't have electricity. These are things that we practice out here all the time. Do you have a way to maintain hygiene? That's important. Even after the event like this, within several days, your body's going to begin to break down. You're going to need to find a way to get clean as possible. Water may be scarce. There's a lot of things you can do, like stockpile baby wipes, obviously store extra water for maintenance and hygiene as well as drinking, and have other supplies on hand that will help you to maintain your hygiene as best as possible. Living in a flooded area is a worst case scenario. You wake up one morning and the water level's, 5, 6, 7 feet in your house. What are you going to do about that? It's just, everything is destroyed. You got to wait for the water to recede, and then the real problems kick in. So, our hearts go out to these people. We're going to try to find ways to get supplies in there. But the best way to survive, don't be there. When they tell you it's coming, if you at all possibly can, evacuate, get out of town. But don't wait until the last minute, because all the roads jam up, and that's exactly what happened. They had a lot of places where vehicles, you couldn't get out because they ran out of fuel and they blocked all the roads, and that's it. It just ruins everything. So if you possibly can, have an escape plan where you can take certain amounts of your belongings with you and go 2 states west, anywhere out of the path of the hurricane. You can always come back. But if you get trapped in there, that could be a life-threatening situation, and it's already been proven. So when told to evacuate, it's already too late. We have a thing out here where it's called Ready, Set, Go. And the local government, for example, if there's a forest fire or something, they put out a ready warning that tells everybody start to get ready to evacuate. And then when they say get set, that means start loading up your vehicles and get everything packed up that you need to go. And then when they say go, you get out of there. Well, what we teach our people is when they say ready, start packing. If you even think, don't even wait for the ready code. You know where the fire is or where the problem's going to be. Start packing and get ready to go. When they say set, you're out of there. Don't wait until they say go, because everybody's trying to leave at once, as what you saw on the streets and the highways back east. I'm going to tell you this story. This is crazy. This happens every year down there. My wife lived in New Orleans for 5 years, and she was there with her sister, and there was a hurricane coming in. So she tells her sister, I'll start cleaning out the bathtub, filling it up with water, doing all the normal stuff. My wife's a former Girl Scout leader and was the Eagle Scout. She was a first class, the female version of an Eagle Scout. So she knows how to handle this stuff. She tells her sister, go to the store to get supplies. Okay, they had just moved there. They weren't there very long. And her sister comes home with a bag of alcohol. Okay, for you Southerners, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's called a hurricane party. Okay, these people at the store said, yeah, this is what you need. When a hurricane's coming in, everybody gets drunk and parties. So she came home with alcohol. My wife looks at her like, are you insane? Because her sister didn't have the common sense to figure out that there's certain things they needed. More canned goods, more bottled water, candles, things of that nature. They just moved. They got to get supplies. She comes home with alcohol. This is stupid underlined, but it happens every year down there. People won't evacuate. People go out and party and they watch the hurricane come in and they get killed. Happens all the time. Hurricane Katrina was a classic example. How many people lost their lives in that hurricane? Do you wait for a hurricane to get prepared? No. If you live in an area that is subjected to hurricanes on a seasonal basis, all right, that means every year these things are coming in. Not all of them are bad. Not all of them hit the same places, but hurricanes come every single year. So you know what's going to happen. If you live in this region, prepare to be ready to evacuate, or if you're going to be stuck there, have ways to waterproof your equipment, have storage bins that you can tape off and keep waterproofed. At least they'll float and your supplies will be there with you. There's no such thing as a disaster if you're prepared. And that's what we harp on all the time is disaster preparedness, natural and man-made. So what other man-made disasters could come out of that? Well, I'm going to tell you in a minute. Now for the recovery. What do we need to do? You need to find some sort of reliable source that is accepting donations. I don't always recommend the Red Cross. They've had problems, but there are some very good church groups. The Baptist Church has a good disaster recovery team. The Adventist, it's called ADRA, Adventist Disaster Recovery Association, I think is how they have it. But find some good quality groups that you can donate money to. They need supplies. If you can donate supplies, I know during Katrina, they had trucks on the West Coast and in Arizona and all over the place that were taking donations, and they were taking them directly into the affected areas. If you can find places like that, donate money and supplies. That's what they need right now. If the government, lets you in to volunteer to help. Now, I'm going to tell you this. This is the most aggravating thing I've heard. The government is actually turning people away from coming in there to help. And there's a lot of problems. They have literally threatened to arrest people. One man with his own private helicopter was running search and rescue operations, and they threatened to arrest him and put him in jail. All right? FEMA is in there, and FEMA is, by God, the most incompetent agency in the entire government. You want to know how bad FEMA is right now? Compared to what they did in Katrina. Katrina looked like a gem compared to what's going on now. This we know for a fact because the government put it out. FEMA money, that's your tax dollars that the Federal Emergency Management Agency has been collecting, has utilized those funds for illegal immigrants. And that's exactly how they worded it in their own paperwork. You believe that? They're taking American taxpayer dollars that need to go now to relief agencies and to recovery operations, and they tell the people they don't have the money because they've given it all to the illegals. Folks, I don't want to get political during this. If you don't vote for Donald Trump and we don't get him back in the White House, this country is doomed. We're done. They are stealing the money because they are filthy, stinking communists. And that's what communists do. They steal your money and they give it to people who come here from other countries who haven't earned it, don't deserve it. And then when we need it for something like what's going on right now, it's not there. And then they threaten people who come in to help. There are county sheriffs right now that have threatened to arrest federal employees on the East Coast who are interfering with volunteers coming in to help. It's that insane. One county sheriff put it out, if there are looters and you are armed, you are authorized the use of deadly force to protect what you have from looters. All right, that came from law enforcement. So we've got a real serious problem between the federal government, the state governments, and the local county and city and town governments. So this is something you couldn't write in a book and have anyone say, yeah, that could happen. It's happening. So if you can, volunteer to do what you can. If you can go in there and help, if you get stopped, put it out on a video, post it on YouTube, post it on the internet, and try to get more evidence, because we're going to build a case on all of this stuff in the future. And this is all going to get handled one way or another. So do what you can. Again, donate money and supplies if you have that opportunity, but research. And the main thing here, watch out for scam artists. If it sounds like some organization no one's ever heard of, you can research it. If you want to give money to the Red Cross, everybody knows that's a legitimate organization. You give it to one of the bigger churches that have disaster recovery, everybody knows they're legitimate. But if some Joe Blow funding thing is out there, do not give money to them. They're scam artists. The other one I just heard of, and I'm going to close with this, apparently Donald Trump set up a GoFundMe page. Go there and look into that. Just go into a search engine. You'll find it. Donald Trump, Hurricane Helene. I don't know the name of it, but I just found out about it. Go in there and find out about the GoFundMe, and you can donate that way. All right, guys, that's what I've got. Good luck. Thank you.